ومن بعد نعطيه الكلمة. دونك سي وليد مش تبريزونتي دونك بالانجلي هكا؟
جو بريفير بالانجلي.
اكسلون اكسلون. جابوي الحكاية. So good morning participants. It's a great pleasure to have with us today for our third technical webinar. So Dr. Walid Ali, originally from Tunisia, but is now working outside and is one of the well-known experts, international experts for smart cities, artificial intelligence, digital transformation, and also industrial revolution 4.0. So Dr. Walid, is the founder and president of the Future Cities Council in Canada with more than 70,000 members. So if you don't know the council, I think that you have already the website address. So I encourage you to visit it. The council studies more than 66 emerging technologies and contribute to 45 sectors of smart cities. Also, our distinguished speaker developed the platform of urban innovations, today really we have great pleasure to have with us Dr. Walid Ali, and we are very proud to have a Tunisian expert in this field of technologies and the future cities. So thank you for accepting our invitation. We hope that your talk and webinar today will help our participants in the online Smart Cities Hackathon, mainly to develop. The goal is to develop smart apps that will be very useful for citizens and also for the municipalities that they already expressed their needs for smart applications, and they really will need to move to smart cities. So thank you very much for accepting our invitation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Habib. Thank you for this great presentation. And I'm glad to be with you today in this great virtual event from home. I'm talking from home. So you basically very well presentation, and I put a slide to thank you, all the event organizers for this event. Brief presentation. I have a digital technology background. I have a PhD in computer science, and I can be qualified as a global speaker since I travel between 30 and 40 events as a speaker per year to talk about the future of technology, the future of cities, and you can find everything about in my website shown here. Before, actually, the presentation of today is not so technical. The presentation of today, this is what I'm using to advise people in general working on smart city, whether students, startup, enterprise, or city mayors or city governors, to deal with smart city from the right thing since the beginning. Because I will talk about the history to show you basically what are the best practices in smart cities development and what are the pitfalls, what are the bad practices. So it's in these slides, the key message after this presentation is few advices from my side. This is what I'm doing daily with people working in the field of smart city to tell them what to do right and what not to do to not make a mistake. So let's have a brief history about cities in general. Million years ago, humans are called hunters and gatherers because they were hunting animals to feed themselves and to survive. And we didn't have the notion of city. till now, because they move from one place to another to hunt animals and to feed themselves. 10,000 years back, the humanity discovered the agriculture, and then they settle where they have water. So till now, we don't have also the notion of cities. They move, if we have water, they move, they follow the water, they do agriculture to survive. In 1784, we live in the first industrial revolution, and here we have the beginning of what we call urbanization and the beginning of cities. And people were settled to work in industries. And since that time, we start talking about cities, urbanization, people moving from agri area to cities to work in industry. And also in the second industrial revolution, this has been also the urbanization, and we talk about more urban area, more cities. Cities are getting more bigger and bigger. In the third industrial revolution, of course, the digital transformation, also the cities are becoming bigger and bigger. When we, in 2007, this is a milestone report of the United Nations. It's called World Urbanization Prospect. They mentioned basically two alarming indicators. The first indicator is about the urbanization. So they said in 2007 we crossed the 50%. So 54% now are living in cities, and it will be 75% by the year 2050. So the urbanization is huge. People are moving to cities. This is the first alarming indicator. For that reason, we are talking about cities, and I will explain why we talk about smart cities later. And in we now have in 2050, sorry, we'll have 50 megacities with 10 million living in cities. Now we have 31 megacities. This means 31 megacities. These cities are 10 million people living in cities. In the year 2050, will be 50 megacities. We have now megacities like Shanghai, like most of them are in India, China, and Africa. The second alarming, of course, indicator from this report is we are something like 7 billion now living on Earth, and by 2050 will be 9 plus, between 9 and 10 billion. What are the consequences of these alarming indicators? Of course, when we live in a condensated way in cities, the urbanization and the population growth bring many problems within the urban area, within cities, like crime, scarcity of job, health problem, accident, traffic, war, scarcity of resource, scarcity of water, energy, etc., etc. Deforestation, sorry. So because the urban area, when we are more people, we need more building, more urban area, so on. This is will decrease the forest area and the green area. So the problem here, and I want to add also the environmental problem. So many problems coming from these two indicators. So this is an alarm for humanity. And since then, what we have also in the fourth industrial revolution, we have many technologies coming to this area. So with these alarming problems, the people and the economists and the decision makers and the leaders, senior leaders, they said, okay, we have to find a solution to these urban problems. And it matches very well with technology, because we live in the industrial revolution and we have a lot of technologies coming in life, like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, big data, etc., etc. So, and people also started working in research. So look at these two graphs. So in these two graphs, you see that people, they said, why we don't use technology to solve the urban problem, the city problems. And you see here in the graph this huge number, this shift in the publication and this exponential interest in the field of smart cities since 2007. Since 2007, we started talking about smart cities. Even before, but the folks after the United Nations report. We started talking about smart city, and we start talking about how to use the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, not to solve the business problem, but to solve the cities problem. And we start talking about urban technology, cities technology, and we talked also about city sciences. Because, as the mayor of Denver said, the 19th century is empire century, and the 20th century was country century, and the 21st century will be the city century. So everybody talking about cities, and especially smart cities. So what we have done, basically, we started studying the smart cities cases across the globe, me and the member of our council, and we studied more than 362 smart city projects, which technologies are used, which sector they focus on. So we studied more than 66 technology and 45 sectors, and we clustered them and to see what are the best practices and what are the pitfalls in order to advise cities or governors who want to move to smart cities. And we tell them, we advise them, you have to do that, you have to use this technology. Don't go with this technology. The other city is doing similar, they have similar challenges as you, so they have find a solution like this in order to accelerate basically the innovation the innovation within the cities and the innovation within the smart cities. So the idea of our work is strategic work. We advise, we have 362 smart city cases so far, and we know we advise cities and government in the field of smart cities. So what we have learned out of this, and this is basically the heart of the message of today. While we studied this, all these smart cities, we find three generations of smart cities. So I'm going to speak about the generation 1.0. It starts since 2007, and basically the concept behind, or the mindset behind this generation is the technology is the answer. What is their question? It's a famous book of Cedric Price. This means that when the cities here, in this slides I mentioned the problem. So the city or government, they have problem, they have challenges, as we discussed, and now we have the companies. Basically, the tech company, they bring the technology blindly to solve. Basically, they bring the solutions without knowing the problem. And here is my solution. What is your problem? Exactly. So technology is the answer. Without knowing what are the problem basically of the cities, without knowing the problem and of citizen. And this is the first generation. And we have in this generation a lot of innovation from the industry side. And we have two basically cases. We have the case of a very high-tech city, Planet Valley in Portugal and Songdo in South Korea. These are very high-tech cities, but the smart cities project were led by the private sector, tech companies like Microsoft and IBM and Cisco and so on. So unfortunately, in this generation, most of this type of city was a failure, because these are high-tech cities, but they excluded even the government. They don't know what are the government. Okay, you have a mobility problem. Okay, we have a solution for that. We have a security problem. We have CCTV for that. These are general solution, technical solution. These are solution looking for problems, not problem looking for solution. This model is called the triple helix. We have the government, we have the industry, and we have the academia. Again, in this generation, the academia are excluded. We know the academician. I'm a professor at university. Always we look for new solution, a new problem, new algorithms, etc., etc. So these academicians were excluded from this generation of smart city 1.0. Then after a few years, as example also, before I move to the second generation, we have a few cities in China which are called ghost city or big brother city, because we have a lot of technology spying on people, etc., etc. And ghost city because we have, I have in my files 3 or 4 cities in China, high tech, but nobody want to live there. Nobody accepted the technology. Nobody want to live in these cities. So these cities are fitted for developed by Microsoft, by IBM, by people, by startups, but nobody want to live them. And cities are for people, not for IBM, not for Cisco. The next generation of cities realized the problem of the first generation, and then they said, no, we have to take in hand our problem, so we have to take the control. So some cities in some countries, I'm going to mention a few names later, the government took the lead of the smart cities transformation or the digital transformation of their cities. They said, okay, we know our problem, we know our challenges, and you, industry, you have to support us with the technology to solve our problem. So now we know our problem and we are looking for solution to our problem. So as you can see, this generation is basically better than the first one, because at least we start from the problem. And as example of these cities, we call technology-enabled, city-led. This generation, the vision is led by cities and not by the tech provider. The mayor or the government, they know their problem. The problem of city again, but not the problem of citizen. So as example of such city, we have Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. They deployed a very nice smart city project during the World Cup. We have Barcelona, very famous smart city case. Basically, in few ranks about smart city, Barcelona always is ranked first as a smart city when we talk about technology. Also, Singapore as a smart cities. I visited all of these cities and I know the technology behind them. So this example of cities are using technology heavily. These are tech cities, but at least they solve the problem proposed by the cities' governors. But, again, the citizens are excluded. So they were not successful 100%. They have been criticized, always criticized by the citizen. And in this basically case of smart city, technology-enabled, city-led city, we have this case. The government design for citizens, but citizens, they have their work because they were not consulted. The government doesn't know their problem. Maybe here in that case, which it's an analogy, the citizen, they don't want a roundabout. They want just a straight street to cross it, and then the government designed a nice roundabout, invested in a nice roundabout, and then all this investment is wrong. So this is just an analogy to show you that in the second generation of smart cities, also it's not successful 100%. Again, the cities, always we talk about generation because many cities across the world, and we are still watching this and we are still following this. They learn from the previous generation, as we do as a human. We learn from the previous generation and we don't do the same mistake. So in the generation, third generation smart cities, they learn about the pitfall of the first and second generation, and they say, okay, now the clue is not the industry, not the government. The city's smart city project also, we should include the citizen in the design, in the development of smart cities, in even the co-creation. We talk about smart city co-creation. The citizen have to co-create solution for them. The citizen, they know their problem more than the industry and more than the mayor, and they have to solve their problem by themselves. And this is exactly the case of this hackathon, this event. So we have people, we have startups, they are developing solution. They know their problem. They live in sfax, for example, and then they want to develop solution for sfax. With the support, of course, of the government of cities, with the support of the industry, but also with the support of academia. And this is the role of the higher education institutions. So we have many students because, the students also are innovative. The best mind always, they don't belong to a big company. Sometimes the best mind are from the civil society. So this is generation 3, where the citizen took in hand the development of smart city from the design, from the problem till the development, where the citizen is in the center of the development of smart cities. And here we talk about open innovation, about co-creation, and the data. Citizens need data. The government open the data about the traffic, for example, give open data to the citizen through hackathon, through events, like the event of today, citizens in collaboration with universities, industry, they innovate to come up with the real solution for the real problem. And this is the success behind smart cities like Vienna, like Vancouver, like Medellin in Colombia, and like Dubai. So this is the third generation of smart cities, where the citizen in the center. But this is not the last generation, because now in the third generation they said, okay, the ultimate goal of smart city is to have a quality of life, to improve the quality of life of citizens. But in many research papers, they said the quality of life is not the ultimate goal of a humanity. The ultimate goal of a humanity is happiness and well-being, because you can have a very high quality of life, but you are not happy. You know, many rich people, they live in they have high quality of life, and unfortunately they suicide at the end because they are not happy. So the ultimate goal of smart city should be the well-being and happiness of their citizens. And just I will give you, I talked about smart city Barcelona before. It was ranked number one for many years as the best smart city in the world. And then, as you can see in this article, Barcelona is the world smart city successful project. But in 2017, the Francesca Bria, the the CTO of Barcelona Smart City, she said, we have to rethink the smart city from the ground up, meaning to rethink technology. So we should not focus on technology, but we should focus on people instead of technology. And this is a great lesson for the future smart city. It's a great lesson because nowadays many cities are following the Barcelona because it's the best smart city project, or the best smart city in the world. But finally they realized it's not the best because it doesn't fulfill the ultimate goal of smart city, which is the happiness of its citizen, the quality of life, the happiness, because it focuses on technology. Many companies like McKinsey, they started realizing that tech for good, tech for humanity. New Zealand well-being budget to focus on poverty and mental health. Budget of New Zealand in 2019 is to focus on well-being, on happiness. And this is basically the fourth generation that we have proposed of smart city. Is basically, this is the model. We have the quadruple helix, we have the government, we have the industry, we have the academia, we have the citizen. All of them should work together to fulfill a smart city project in design, in development, in implementation, and also in funding, because smart cities, some of the cases of smart cities, we have found that even they include citizens, but they lack funding. So they cannot realize the full implementation of smart city. So here, this is the model that we propose. We call quadruple helix, where the smart city is basically a global innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem, where everybody can contribute under one vision, under one strategy. And we talk a lot about smart city strategies, vision, mission, goals. So, and everybody in this ecosystem, they have to work to fulfill the strategy, and we must have a financial problem, strategies, goal, implementation goals, a milestone, etc., etc. So this is the ultimate goal, and this is the model I propose in many cities now, in order to not make the mistake of the previous generation. Because in the previous generation, if you exclude citizen, the project will fail definitely. If we don't think about financial model, of course, the project will fail. If we don't select the right technology and the right provider, the project will fail. If we don't think about city halls in a holistic way, and we develop silos solution, individual solution, and then we will face a problem of integration later. So when we develop a smart city, we have to think holistically about the smart city. We have to, of course, the development will be done by companies, by innovator, by startup, but with the vision, with the holistic view, then we guarantee the integration of all our idea to solve to implement successfully the smart city project. So basically, this is the ultimate model. that I'm advising you as a student or as a startup, so as a company to follow. You have to include the government, you have to include the citizen, you have to include the industry, you have to include the academia. And I think this is a model also we followed in this event, because we have, as Professor Habib told me, we have startups, we have students, we have academician, and of course we have cities, mayor or government. I want to show you two cases of successful smart city without technology, because technology again is a tool, is not the ultimate goal. But we have to focus on citizen, on the real problem. The case number one is a city developed by Leonardo da Vinci 500 years ago. We don't have technology, but Leonardo da Vinci has designed a great city which is qualified as a smart today 500 years ago, and he developed the level one of the city as economic, where we have shops, etc., and the second level as social, for people, where people can socialize, with environmental, of course, concerns. So this city is environmentally friendly without any technology. The second case is Bogota city. There is a nice book called Happy City, where I read it, and I took this case. It's a city of Bogota in Colombia. They developed a smart city by design, healthy city, a social city, inclusive city, without technology, only by design. Just to show you that the technology is a tool, is not the ultimate goal. And these are two examples of smart city without technology. This is the mayor of Bogota who has proposed this design, and he makes his city happier, healthy for people. People can socialize, etc., etc. And in the third case, sorry, is Dubai Smart City. They have a smart agenda. They use the ultimate technology from IoT, AI, blockchain, etc., etc. And then again, they realized that this is not the right smart city. A few years back, more after developing the smart agenda, they have developed what we call the happiness agenda, in order to match the needs of the citizen. So they realize that the technology is not the ultimate goal, and the technology is a tool. So in Dubai Smart City now, technologically it's a very smart city. They use all the technology that you can imagine. From now they are testing flying drone, etc., etc. But the citizens are not happy there, so they said, okay, let's move back. We study the happiness of our citizen. They develop a happiness KPI, etc., etc. So they brought psychologists, positive psychology expert, etc., etc. I worked with them, and then they matched this agenda with the smart agenda plus happiness agenda to come up, to at least to catch up with the fourth generation of smart city, because they were in the third generation. So, as I told you, I didn't talk, my background is technology. I didn't talk about technology and how to use AI in smart city. We can do it in other lecture, blockchain, whatever technology. We studied 66 technology, but this is a lecture, a very important lecture. It's an advice for anybody or any organization involving in the development from smart city. As Shakespeare said, what is the city but the people? So we have to think quadruple helix. We have to think academia, government, industry, and people. We have to put the citizen in the center, human-centric, and we have to put the happiness agenda, or at least the quality of life or the well-being, in the center. And then we have to know the needs of the citizen, the needs of the city, and then we select the right technology and the right partner to solve this technology. Some problem can be solved through drone. Some problem can be solved through artificial intelligence. Some problem can be solved through IoT, like transportation problem. Some problem can be solved through blockchain for more transparency, and so on. So once we know the problem, then we can select the technology, and then we can select the partner. And it's better to include the citizen, not only to request their problem, but also in the development, in the design thinking, in the innovation process, in the design of the city, in the implementation process. If you are citizen of the city and then you are a good innovator and developer, that's great. Don't forget the government, because the government will put the regulation. If you want to use a drone and the government doesn't regulate the drone regulation, you cannot use it. You know, also the industry, because the industry, they have the latest technology, and sometimes they can help in the investment in the smart city solution. The other advice also, whatever number of group you are in the hackathon, I'm sure you're going to work on specific problems. Some problem are related to health, other are related to transportation. So think holistically, because later, sooner or later, you're going to integrate all these solutions together, because the health solution will talk differently with the transportation. If we talk about ambulance, etc., etc., and the energy will talk with the transportation. So think holistically, have a vision in your mind about the full project, the full enterprise smart city, and then develop it by model, but think holistically. Because if you don't work holistically, later you'll find the problem of integration. So don't work silos, work in collaboration, even if you are designing solution for different verticals of smart cities. And this is my advice. Think about start from the fourth generation of smart city, not the third, not the second, because the first, the third, and the second, they have some problems, if not complete failures. This is basically my advice for this lecture today. It's not actual technical lecture, but it's the best advice you get ever, to avoid the big mistake, to avoid a waste of investment, to avoid the waste of time and the waste of energy, because you can invest in some solution silos, you can invest in some, you can have the best idea, but it doesn't fit the citizen. You can have the best idea, but lately you cannot find the fund for it. So this is a great advice, because what we have done, we have studied all of this generation, and we come up with this advice, and this is what I want to deliver to you today. It's better than technical seminar. I can deliver any technical seminar maybe in the future about whatever technical subject you want. But this is, I think, this is the best advice I can deliver to you, to city mayor, to city governor, to startups, to innovator for today. And yeah, thank you very much for your attendance. If you have any question, I will be glad to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ali, for this great presentation. It includes several important points that the participants should take care. Of course, we can have like a very smart app with top technologies, but if no one will use it, it will be a big problem. So the partner municipalities already presented their needs in 2 weeks ago, and the participants, of course, should take care about their needs and how to develop applications that will be used by the citizens. Otherwise, it will be not a successful solution and application. I very liked the way that you presented the old cities and the future cities, the happiness, good points. I don't know if we can plan, if we can talk a little bit about technologies. Do you have some technologies that could be recommended for the participants?
Yes.
Maybe it is important to use, for example, artificial intelligence or blockchain, or maybe it's not needed. How participants can decide when they should use a technology or they should don't use that technology.
Yeah, I can talk about technology, definitely. basically what we have done, we started, as I mentioned, if you go to a platform called, if you go to the platform developed code future here, we have put about 66 technology which are used in cities.
Sorry, I think that the website is on the first slide.
Yeah, is it
The
still?
website address, yeah.
I'm still
You
sharing
can.
the.
Okay.
Can you see this website?
No, it's not on the first slide. So
no, it's no. I'm sharing how to.
Yeah, you are sharing your.
Yeah. Can you see the website I'm sharing now?
No, for me no. No, for.
Okay, because in this platform we share
Mr. Walid,
yes.
you should be share your screen.
Okay.
Just come back to your PDF to the PDF file.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just I'm gonna stop share and then I'm gonna share again.
Okay.
But
Okay,
I'm gonna share another screen. Yes. Sorry, because I was sharing the PDF. Yeah. Can you see this website?
Yes.
Yeah. So in this, basically in this website, we it's a knowledge platform. We already put everything. For example, when you go to trans and we go to non-technological trans, you find the problem. Basically, the global. Here we are talking global. The global problem that can be solved through technology. And we find here deforestation, we find, for example, terrorism, air pollution, population growth. These are the problem. But when we go to the technological trend here, we find all the technological trend that can use it, from quantum computing to artificial intelligence to virtual reality to hologram. So you find all digital twins, you find all the technology, green technology as well, drone, mobile technology, biotechnology, all the technology are there. And what is amazing here, we have in this section, we have innovation. Here, what we are collecting basically all the innovation that are happening, urban innovation or not, and then what are the technology here. For example, here we talk about robots, we talk about a drone to solve which problem in which sector. So it's a classification of innovation here. The latest technology added here are for COVID, of course. And then what we do basically out of this innovation database or knowledge database, we are doing some analytics to see what are the best technology. Since we have 66 technology applied to 44 sector, then it's easy to do the classification. And then the analytics that we do can showed us already that now most of the innovation in urban environment are using basically three main types of technology. The first one is IoT. The IoT is used to in the, for example, transportation sector in city to calculate the traffic, etc. CCTV camera also to monitor the traffic. Big data, the drone, and the ultimate technology that is used everywhere basically, which is the tip top of the iceberg of technology, is the artificial intelligence. So basically, artificial intelligence is used in most of the sectors. Since we collect data via IoT devices, Internet of Things. This data is called big data. It's a huge data, and then it's analyzed by artificial intelligence algorithm, machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning, etc., etc. So the most used technology is artificial intelligence. And the most used technology within artificial intelligence is the face recognition, and the image pattern recognition. It's used everywhere. Even in the COVID health sector, they can take the CT scan image, and then they diagnose COVID using image recognition or face recognition using CCTV camera to monitor the people moving. So based on this analytics, and this is our job, we figure out which technology are promising in the field of, and in which field. Of course, the field depend on the city, depend on the situation. Now, the most important field is the health, because we talk about COVID. But before COVID, each city has its own challenges. Sometimes it's a health sector, sometimes it's mobility challenge, sometimes it's environmental challenge. And then based on the challenge, we select the best technology out of our analytics. For example, if it's an environmental challenge, we always suggest the green technology, either solar or wind or gas to energy technology or wind technology, the wind turbine and so on. If it's a transportation problem, we suggest, of course, IoT sensor on the road and then CCTV camera to monitor the traffic. If it's health problem, depending on the problem, we can suggest artificial intelligence technology and big data and biosensor to monitor the patient, etc., etc. Nowadays, the most also promising technology is a blockchain. The blockchain is used in alliance with IoT and artificial intelligence to guarantee the transparency of exchange of data or report. And in case of Smart Dubai, they use blockchain in a government network to exchange documents between them, because the blockchain guarantee the trust. It adds a layer of trust to the data transaction between entities. So, as I told you, for each problem, we have a specific technology for that. And this is the knowledge that we gathered through the last years by studying the cases. This is part of my work to cities. I know, first of all, we detect their problem and then we suggest to them the strategy and the technology which is suitable for the problem. Based on all this knowledge and all our expertise, we can I can advise people or citizens or companies that the best technology now, which is a buzzword technology, is the artificial intelligence, of course, but artificial intelligence is a generic technology. We have face recognition, we have computer vision, we have chatbots, we have language processing, etc. So even depending on the specific problem, we can select a subsection of artificial intelligence. The most promising subsector of artificial intelligence which is used now is the computer vision. Face detection, CCTV, wherever you go, you find CCTV, they detect face, etc., etc. And it's used in many fields, like a crime, like health, and it was used also in the coronavirus by the Chinese government. The drone combined with computer vision. We find the drone, we can catch that people are taking mask or no, and then so it's a combination of technology. It's not only one technology. So the best country which has used technology, of course, is China and South Korea. And this is an example, of course, in smart city applied to a specific situation, to a crisis situation. And I have following also some project in Tunisia, like chatbot called Aziza, like the robot which used by the police, the drone. I think in sfax also, the drone which detect the temperature of people using face recognition to detect the face of people and so on. So it's a combination of technology. And these are the ultimate keys. So I can give you by order the artificial intelligence with few subsectors of artificial intelligence, the IoT, of course, big data, etc., and the drone technology. And when we talk about drone or robots, AI robots, so basically these are the 3 or 4 technology. The other promising technology which is used for specific problem by city is the virtual reality, augmented reality, geospatial technology, mapping, etc., etc. So basically, these are the top 5 hot technology that are used in cities now. And this is not by tattooing, this is based on our analytics, because when we enter in this platform and innovation, we index it by sector, by technology. If you go, for example, here, if I click in this technology, in this case, for example, of innovation, I can see that this case is applied, in China, and it's of course applied to COVID, and the technology behind it is robotic and artificial intelligence. Later, once we analyze all these cases, we have a graph which shows us what are the best, the hot sector, which technology are applied across the globe, and what are the best technology which are used. So this analytics we use to advise people or city, and this is what I'm doing now, about the best technology ever which is used to solve which problem. So now, depending on the problem that you want to solve, I can tell you what are the specific technology. If it's a training problem, you want to train people, of course, we talk about virtual reality, augmented reality. If it's a transportation problem, surveying, we can say drone. The artificial intelligence is in all the sector. We call the new energy, the artificial intelligence, because it's applied to all the sector. Whenever you collect data, we talk about artificial intelligence and data analytics. So basically, as I told you, these are the 5 or 6 top technology which are basically are promising technology now. But again, when we drill down to the specific problem, we can advise a specific technology or combination of technology to solve this specific problem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We received one question. I don't know if you can click on the question and answer button to see the question.
Question, yeah. There is more than one
About the
definition.
definition
Yeah,
of
yeah. This is a good question. Which one considered? Actually, I don't have the Excel sheet. We collected more than 217 definition of smart city. You can imagine 217 definition. Basically, most of them are coming from industry. IBM and each company, they define the smart city based on their thought because they want to sell their solution. Some definition also are mixed because we talk about smart city, we talk about digital city. Some people working on the environmental side, they talk about the green city, sustainable city, digital city, health. You know, we have a lot of names. So 217 definition we collected since 2 years back because we stopped collecting definition. And we have many institutes. They come up with the definition and KPI and indicators, etc., etc. You know, each country comes with its own indicator, index of smart city. We have the green city index, we have smart city index, we have digital city index, we have, you know, so it's really confusing. The ITU collected, I think, 196 definition also. So finally, because why we call it future city? Because we don't want to call smart city, we don't want to call the green city, we don't want to call, you know. Finally, we said, okay, let's agree to call it future city, because when we speak about smart city, it's like we are biased to technology. You know, smart is technology, smartphone also. And you forgot about the sustainability part, which is green, environmental friendly, etc., etc. Some people which are pro-environmental, they said, okay, no, we hate the word smart. We talk about green city, sustainable city, eco-friendly city. You see, so actually there is no difference for us. The ultimate definition we came with it: a smart city or a future city is a future-proof ready city. This means it's always ready for the future challenge. We can call it resilient city, and which use the technology as a tool to satisfy, to bring a quality of life, well-being, and happiness of its citizens. So this is the ultimate definition we can for it. So it's a city which is future-proof ready. This means whatever the challenge, it's ready for it to solve it using technology, of course. And sometimes we don't use technology, like the example of Leonardo da Vinci I gave you, or Bogota city, which has the ultimate goal to satisfy the well-being and happiness of people with of course, environmental consideration, because we cannot invest in the well-being of city and forget the environment and the planet, etc., etc. So this is the ultimate definition that we collected from all these 217 definition of smart city.
Thank you very much. I think it's clear. We have another question. How can Tunisian cities adopt smart cities concept?
Yeah, a few months back I was in Tunisia. I stayed 3 months and I attended a few events about smart city. Unfortunately, I gave them the same advice. Actually, they brought some expert from an African country, I think Rwanda, to develop a national strategy for smart city. So the guy, I met him, he came with a template ready. I told him you cannot apply to Tunisia because Rwanda is different. The challenge of Rwanda and South Africa are different of the challenge of Tunisia. And even between us, Tunisian, the challenge of sfax are different from the challenges of GABS. So this is the first thing. So we have the first advice, as I gave you, is we have to start from the city, from the challenge, from the citizen living there, and define the problem, and then come up with solution. The technology is always there to help. Also, I don't advise the copy paste. This is the biggest mistake, copy paste. If I developed a good smart city in sfax, this doesn't mean that we can copy paste the same solution to desert. Cities are always, I say, cities are like a human. We have the same anatomy. We have one nose, two eyes, etc., but we are different. So it's better to share the anatomy. The anatomy is the process, is the strategy, is the technology that can be used, but then we have to look at the detail. Also, the problem I think which will face the cities in Tunisia and most of the cities across the globe is the financial problem. You can write your dream of smart city in the best strategic plan, etc., and then you lack some fund. And this is we have to think about how to finance a smart city. We have many models, PPP, etc., etc. So we have to guarantee the financial issue to develop a smart city. So the idea, my idea to to overcome this financial issue is to rely on people, on citizen, on student, etc., to develop solution. Because if we rely on big companies, they will ask for a lot of money. The second thing, we have to look at a good financial model to sponsor a smart city, and then to reduce the cost is to also rely on citizen, innovator, startups, student to develop a solution, but with a holistic view, as I mentioned early. The third advice is to start small. We cannot start to develop a smart city full from the beginning. Start, for example, we have transportation issue. Okay, let's develop a transportation solution that can bring money. Some solution in many countries, they bring money, and then this money is re-injected to develop another solution for another problem within the same city. And then it's, progressive development and implementation. We cannot develop one full smart city since the beginning because it requires a huge fund. So this is the three advice. Don't copy paste. Rely on people, innovator, startup, student, more than companies to reduce the cost, and start small. Focus on the real problem, the priority. Prioritize your problem, and then start with the most urgent problem, then solve it, and then move to the next problem with a holistic view, with one vision, one mission, and main goals.
Okay, so it's mainly the first step is to understand well the problem in the municipality and to understand all the factors that are making this problem.
And prioritize the problem within your resources. Sometimes you say, okay, this problem is urgent. Like now, all the world is focusing on COVID because it's an urgent problem. So make a priority, and the priority also depend on the resources. So you have financial resource to do this project now, to this priority, human resources, etc., etc. So problems, define a set of problems, define a priority, and then look at your resources, wherever financial resources, human resources, time resource, and then decide which project will go to solve it. Solve problem by problem, but think holistically. Think when you solve a problem, for example, of transportation, think about the energy, think about the health, think about the education, and so on.
Okay, thank you. If no other questions, I will check if there is other questions.
We don't have other questions.
Yeah, no other questions. So thank you very much, Dr. Walid.
Thank you.
It's really pleasure to meet you online today, and hope we will meet in the near future. So for the participants, if they would like to contact you and to ask you more questions, how they can do that?
Yeah, you can share. I
Possible?
have, yeah, of course. You are welcome. First of all, thank you. And yeah, I have one common, you know,
Yeah,
I have one website. You know, it's called, I put
great.
it in the first slide. It's called, it's here. It's, Dr. Walid Ali. It's one website where you can find everything about. I have many platforms, but this is in this website. You see down here, drwalidali.com. So
Okay,
yeah, you find all the activities, all the what I'm doing. You can contact me by email also. So I have two emails. I can share them here. So Walid at Dr. Walid Ali, President at FutureCityCouncil.org. So these two emails, you can reach me, and you are welcome for any question or any collaboration, future collaboration in the future.
thank you very much. Hope
Yeah.
I'm sure that this was very interesting for the participants. So thank you.
Yeah, if you
And
allow me, Professor,
yeah,
I want to mention
yeah,
about
of
this.
course,
This Istishaf, it's Istishaf is a Tunisian association of a future
and
foresight.
yeah, the
Because
new one. Yeah,
yeah, because we have always to look for the future, whatever future city, future and future company. So in this association, we hope to look to the future. It's a Future Foresight Association. It's a NGO, and I hope that everybody will be a member. And part of this association, we look at the future technologies, future challenges, and one subject is the future cities. What are the challenges coming in the city? So I'm advising you to register as a member, because we're going to share a lot of knowledge there related to cities, to technology, etc. And I hope with this association, everybody will look at the future and spot the trends and try to be ready for the future before we lose this future. You know? So this is my last word. Thank you.
yeah. Congratulations for the foundation of this
Thank you.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I read good points about news about this Istishraf organization,
yeah,
and I hope that participants will join soon. So thank
yeah.
you very
Thank you. Thank
much,
you. Thank you very much.
and good afternoon
Yeah,
or
and
evening
good.
for you.
Yeah, yeah. Good luck for the
Thank,
rest of the event. Good luck. Thank you very much.
thank
Thank you.
you very
Take care.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye.